If you or someone you know has a gambling problem, crisis counseling and referral services can be accessed by calling 1-800-GAMBLER, 1-800-426-2537.
You're listening to 94.5 ESPN, WKTI and WKTI HD Milwaukee, a Good Karma Brands radio station. The game is over, and it's the day after.
Wide open. He's got Kraft. Tight ends running with stiff arm. Kraft scored the distance. Second and goal. It's to Kraft. Kraft fighting for it. Did he get in? A second touchdown. Down the field. Intercepted. And a fifth straight game. McKinney has an interception again.
Let's react to the game and look ahead. This is Potawatomi Sportsbook Football Monday.
That was exhausting, but certainly proud of our guys just to continue to battle.
Live from the Potawatomi Sportsbook Studios, here's Greg Matzik and Gary Ellerson.
Welcome into another edition of Potawatomi Sportsbook's Football Monday. Greg Matzik and Gary Ellerson with you from the beautiful Potawatomi Sportsbook on a Monday night where the Chiefs will take the field. Boy, what a shock. The Chiefs are on Monday Night Football. Did not see that one coming. But, yes, here we are. The Chiefs, Monday Night Football, one of the lone unbeaten teams in the NFL. The other being the Minnesota Vikings, who earned a win in London yesterday over a terrible New York Jets team. Kind of exciting to watch. The Jets just sort of fall apart with a putrid offense, but when he needed them to get a victory over the Minnesota Vikings, they were not able to do it. But nonetheless, we are here to talk Packers football. Would love to hear from you as well at 800-990-3776. 800-990-3776. We'll take you till 8 o'clock tonight. Looking back on a gritty Packers win, an expected Packers win. I'm kind of curious to see how people describe what they watched yesterday, because I have learned long ago that when it comes to NFL football, grading wins goes out the window. I get it. It's our job to sort of pick apart what we liked and what we didn't like, what worked and what didn't, why blitz here, why play soft coverage here. We'll get to all that. That's our job, Gary, to sort of break that stuff down. But nonetheless, with their shorthanded offense, the Packers went into Los Angeles and beat a shorthanded Rams team. But nonetheless, a road win, cross-country travel in the NFL without two of your top wide receivers, and a come-from-behind victory at that. I thought there was a level of grit to it. And we're talking about a Packers win here today, a Victory Monday here on ESPN Milwaukee.
I think at the end of the day, you went on the road, West Coast trip, different time zone, and you got to win. I think that's what it's all about. Style points, if you're looking for style points, there weren't any. And to me, I think it's still a ascending team. I think they're still getting better, but they beat a team they were supposed to have beaten, if you look at the odds and those types of things. But it just didn't feel right. I mean, it just the whole game in my gut, it just didn't feel right. I mean, I know we got to win. I'm giving you the cliches that, they got to win. Win's a win. I get, but still, you're looking for some sort of improvement. Like the Rams were without 5 stars on offense, 3 of them on the offensive line, and it appears that we still don't have a pass rush, right? So I was hoping that we see something there. Second half, they got a little bit better, but you were looking for something there. If you're talking about the offense, Jordan Love still feels like to me that he's still trying to get there through some errant passes. And I've already figured this out, Packer fans. He's most definitely not Aaron Rodgers, but I don't think he's really Brett Favre. I think he's somewhere in the middle where I think he's going to take chances. I just think that's who this dude is. He's going to take more chances than Rodgers, but less chances than Favre. So, and then Josh Jacobs. I feel like Matt LaFleur just maybe they saved him. I don't know, but he's a volume carrier. I mean, he has to carry the football at least 25 to 30. I mean, that's who this guy is. And in order for him to get what you need to get, and he's a different back than Aaron Jones. He's not as explosive. He's more of a closer. And for you to get these closers, running backs like this, Derrick Henry, them type guys, you got to give them the ball early. And I just didn't think they got Josh Jacobs involved in the game plan early.
So you're hitting on a couple of things, and I would agree with you in that this is not a good game for the Matt LaFleur never makes good adjustments at halftime crew, because I thought he did. But it also points out to, I think what you're suggesting is that it was a really kind of disjointed and sort of clunky game plan early on offensively. And it took the Packers a minute to get going. And, defensively, they were giving up some pretty chunk plays and pretty good, drives by the Rams. Thankfully, turnovers helped kind of turn the momentum a little bit. So, yes, the defense bled some yardage, but also were able to force a couple of turnovers that helped the Packers put points on the board. Jordan Love makes one of the worst mistakes, a Will Levis-type mistake, with the pick six, trying to make a play. He's going to get knocked down to the end zone, don't want a safety.
So what do you do? Let me ask you
fling it underhand?
Greg, I'm glad you said that. So should you have taken a safety there? Is that what you would have done?
I think
not you would have done, but what do you think you should have done? Safety?
What do I think he should have done?
Yeah.
In retrospect, you're thinking to yourself, don't take a safety. You can't fall down
exactly.
there. If he falls, you're saying to yourself, just get rid of it.
Yes.
Just fling it out of bounds. Well, let me tell you this.
Yes.
He tried.
Yes.
Right? He tried to fling it out of bounds.
Yes.
And, you got a tight end sort of in the mix, in the area. Nonetheless, it goes down as a bad play, negative play, horrible mistake, but also an untouched rusher running after your quarterback in the end zone hangs him out to dry.
So I don't know what the blocking scheme is on that.
Well, they forgot someone.
Well, no, because sometimes they leave that guy free when you're booting to the right or sprinting to the right. They let that guy go off the corner. So I ain't had to go back and look at it. I didn't see the all 22. But I know they were running away from the defender, and maybe they didn't account for the defender how fast he could run. But going back to what you said, Greg, it was like, okay, yeah. No, it's a pick six. I was kind of okay with him throwing the ball away. I thought that's what he was doing.
It's like, at least it wasn't a safety.
Right. No, it's a pick six. That's what I went through. And then I said to myself, how mad should I be about that? And as I was trying to rationalize this whole thing in my brain, and I've been hearing this Will Levis comment all day long, I don't think that it was a Will Levis. I think it was a situation where you're trying to avoid the safety. Will Levis, he'll do this on the 30 or 40-yard line. He's not trying to avoid a safety. You understand what I'm saying? There's more to it than that because of trying to avoid the safety. And I don't know, maybe I date myself in rules, but I think when you get the safety, the other team still gets the ball. Is that the rule?
That is true. They haven't changed that one.
They haven't changed that one. So it's twofold. You get the safety, and the other team gets possession of the ball. So to me, when I saw it happen, I could understand why he did it, but the interception for the pick six, that was his first pick six ever, obviously.
It's on his 761st pass attempt.
Yeah. And guess what? He's going to have more.
He'll definitely have more, and I'm with you in that. In my mind, as Jordan Love is going through that play, he is thinking to himself, the worst thing that could happen here is for me to get sacked in the end zone, right? Mm-hmm. Not thinking that a pick six is even part of the consideration. Well, that happens, okay? Teams don't often bounce back. I'd like to go look at the numbers here. Somebody smarter can do it. How many times does your team rebound from a pick six to win a game? It can't be all that often in the NFL. But here's what I loved about the aftermath. Jordan Love, after the pick six, was 9 for 9 for 2 touchdowns. Right, so you want to talk about short memory. Don't worry about it. Move on. Play is over. Don't get rattled. Things like that. Like, those are still positive signs for a quarterback who is still growing in the NFL. That was a sneeze.
Bless you.
That's the first time that's happened to me on the radio.
You've been doing radio for like 50 years.
Gary.
And now you did back-to-back.
Yeah.
What is going on?
There's a little pepper on your hard-boiled egg and your salad.
I did. I put a ton on it.
I know, and I had a piece of it. I snuck a piece of your hard-boiled egg.
I put a ton on it.
The pepper went up the wrong place.
Yeah. I love it.
But you know what I'm saying? Bounce-back ability is a good trait for a quarterback. After just an awful play, some good happened, right? Some good things happened that helped sort of turn the tide in the game.
Right. And that's what you want. If you're the Packers, you just got to keep chopping, right? You just got to keep chopping. Chopping at the tree, just keep chopping. And that's what they end up doing. I think the Packers just kept going, and they kept going despite how bad or how the game was an ugly game. So despite how bad it looked, they kept chopping at the tree, and eventually they won the game. It wasn't pretty. It wasn't how we thought it would be, but they got to win.
But let me ask you this now, right? Do you put it under the category of a win is a win? Do you put it in the category of It's the one that almost got away and shouldn't have. Do you put it in the category of the Packers almost wet the bed in the fourth quarter, or do you put it in the category of it was a win but doesn't quite seem right just yet? Something doesn't feel right.
Something doesn't feel right yet. That's why I put it. But a win is a win. See how I did you? I went to C and then back to A.
Yeah, no, you did. Yeah, it was good.
Yeah. But they got to clean up the penalties, the pre-snap penalties. That can be cured, right? You can get better on that. It just feels if they can try to figure out the balance with Josh Jacobs in the run game, that needs to get figured out too. And it may not never get figured out, but I think it needs to be. It just doesn't look. Well, and although you were without Christian Watson, right? You were without Romeo Doubs. Was there Luke Musgrave sighting there at all?
Well, yeah, we're going to get into that because this is not a tight end by committee anymore. There's a clear number one.
Yeah. So you had those issues going offensively as well.
800-990-3776 if you'd like to join us here. How do you best classify the Packers' 24-19 win over the Rams? I look at it this. It's a comeback win on the road. Just first and foremost, it was a comeback win on the road. I know it probably felt like a home game at times because there were so many Packers fans in the stadium, but it's still cross-country travel, shorthanded, without two star wide receivers or two solid weapons for Jordan Love. And you were down early, and nothing looked right? The offensive game plan was kind of a mess. Rams were able to piece together some solid drives, but turnovers kind of screwed that up. Second half, adjustments were made. Packers score 14 points in the third quarter, and they earn a victory. Maybe you want to call it gritty. Maybe you want to call it lucky. I really don't care. The fact of the matter is the Packers are 3-2, and they're keeping pace. Right, with the Arizona Cardinals coming to Lambeau Field. Mm-hmm. Curious to know what you react, how you react to the Packers' win yesterday. We'll dive into some more of the details coming up. 800-990-3776. I want to get Gary's thoughts coming up on the other side about Romeo Doubs and his suspension. Brian Gutekunst said in a statement prior to the game on Sunday, we made the difficult decision to suspend Romeo Doubs for one game for conduct detrimental to the team. Let me tell you this. That was not a difficult decision. That was a very easy decision. But how long can something like this linger in the locker room? Because it was a distraction. There's no doubt about it. Just getting started here. It's Potawatomi Sportsbook Football Monday from Potawatomi Sportsbook. Hang with us.
More football talk coming up next. This is Potawatomi Sportsbook Football Monday. On this show, it's always football season.
And that's your argument was that the coaches wanted him to return it.
Yeah, I think,
and he very clearly said no.
They wanted him to take it to the house.
Wilde and Tausch, presented by Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin. Also sponsored by American Family Insurance.
Play the results, are we?
That's what coaches do sometimes, yeah.
Weekdays from 9 to noon on 94.5 ESPN, the Wisconsin On Demand app, and at ESPN Milwaukee on YouTube.
It's bird bashing season when you swoop into Potawatomi. Thursdays, you could win up to a wicked 50 grand cash in the Bird Bash Game Show. Just play with your rewards card all October for entries. All Bird Bash entries go towards a December 20th giveaway with a monstrous 300 grand in prizes. Bird Bash makes its bewitching return. Only at Potawatomi Casino Hotel, Milwaukee. Learn more at paysbig.com/birdbash. Must be 21 years old to play.
This season, get premium tech that inspires joy from Dell Technologies. Bring projects to life with the XPS 16. It delivers supercharged processing for enhanced productivity and freedom to express yourself. Performance-class Dell PCs with Intel Core Ultra processors deliver a dedicated engine to help accelerate AI. Enjoy free shipping, Dell rewards, and expert support. When you get a Dell PC with AI, it gives back. Shop now at Dell.com/deals.
Getting quality employees to fill positions in your company is essential, but finding those people can be a major hassle unless you use ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter makes finding quality people a breeze. ZipRecruiter's advanced technology identifies candidates with the right skills, sends you great matches, then you can easily invite them to apply. 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. See for yourself. Go to ZipRecruiter.com/free to try ZipRecruiter for free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Why is life better with American Family Insurance? Because every policy comes with something very special. A trusted agent who's there to help protect your dreams by finding the right coverage at the right price. Save up to 23% when you bundle home and auto. American Family Insurance. Get a quote and find an agent at amfam.com.
Products not available in every state. Visit amfam.com to learn how discounts may apply to you. American Family Mutual Insurance Company, SI, and its operating company, 6000 American Parkway, Madison, Wisconsin.
Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin present your Badger Minute. Here's Alex Strofe.
This Badger Minute brought to you by UW Credit Union. For every stage of life, UW Credit Union is here for every you. Proudly serving Wisconsin for over 90 years. Hop in or hop online at uwcu.org to join.
With your Badger Minute, I'm Riley Yauk. The Badgers may just be back, folks. They steamrolled the Purdue Boilermakers on Saturday with a 52-6 beatdown at Camp Randall Stadium. They led wire-to-wire in large part thanks to Braden Locke and Tretch Kekahuna. Locke was the first Wisconsin quarterback to throw for 300 yards against a Big Ten team since Joel Stave all the way back in 2015, and Kekahuna had 134 yards receiving with 2 touchdowns.
Pella's windows and doors feature durable materials, custom colors, and innovative features like shades between the glass. Get 0% interest for up to 36 months at PellaWI.com.
Hey sports fans, looking to level up your next private event? V Private Bar Services is your game changer. Move beyond the ordinary. V Private Bar Services crafts custom cocktails tailored to your brand and your guests' taste. Imagine a bar experience that's as unique as your business. Our expert mixologists will create a memorable experience that your clients and team will rave about. From signature cocktails to full-service bars, we've got you covered. Be the MVP of your next event. Visit vprivateba.com/MVP to book today.
This is Potawatomi Sportsbook Football Monday, live from the Potawatomi Sportsbook Studios on 94.5 ESPN.
We did. We talked. I'm not going to get into the specifics of it, but I think it was productive, and we look forward to getting him back on Wednesday.
Packers head coach Matt LaFleur having a conversation with wide receiver Romeo Doubs today. Doubs suspended for conduct detrimental to the team prior to Sunday's game. Apparently just decided not to show up for practice toward the back end of the week. And we'll get more from Matt LaFleur coming up in just a moment. First, our best electrifying play of the game. Let's get to it, Chris.
It's time for the electrifying play of the game.
Intercepted. Quay Walker's got it. Walker's still going. Looking for the end zone. Quay Walker is in. Touchdown.
Presented by Best Electric Service.
Love on third down to the end zone. What a catch. Touchdown. Love to Dobbs.
For over 50 years, no job has been too big or too small for Best Electric Service. Connect with the best and learn more at bestelect.com.
And it came in a decisive third quarter for the Packers. They scored 14 points in the third, a pair of touchdown passes from Jordan Love to Tucker Kraft. This was the first one, spanning 66 yards.
Here's Love. Wide open. He's got Kraft. Tight ends running with stiff arm. Kraft scored the distance. Tucker Kraft. He plays the game the way it was meant to be played, with an edge, said his head coach, and you saw it right there.
That's got a little throwback to his game, Tucker Kraft.
Yeah,
doesn't it, Gary?
Yeah, he does. And you like it. And the reason why you like it, because you feel like that you could play like that. I mean, not overly athletic, but makes all the plays. And when you hear him talk, it's really about the team, and it's really about what he's doing for the team. So, yeah, I mean, the guy is absolutely incredible. I knew I liked the guy when I saw him being drafted. What school did he go to? Was it North Dakota or South Dakota?
So he was South Dakota.
South Dakota.
If I remember right.
Yeah. Great. Is that Great Places, South Dakota? Or
Great Places, Great Faces.
Is that
South Dakota.
North Dakota or South Dakota?
South
Dakota. So I knew I liked him because I think I saw him, Greg.
South Dakota State, that is.
Okay, yeah. Is there a difference between South Dakota and South Dakota State?
Yeah, just that one word.
Okay. Boy, you're smart. I knew I liked him, Greg, when I saw him at his draft, and it felt like he was in some sort of garage there were like a lot of cars like up on a hangar or something where you can just pull the tranny out of a car. It felt like it was just in some garage somewhere where they were fixing cars and just had everybody in there hanging out. I go, that's my guy.
Throwback.
Yeah, he can take out an engine in the car. He fits right here in Green Bay.
There you go.
Now, we just got to get him a deal with Kraft. Kraft cheese.
Well, they're not far away. They're just across the border in Illinois. That can't be that hard.
Somebody needs to be working on that. If I were them.
Okay. Well, we'll get Tucker's marketing agent on that and in touch with
Does
people.
Does it seem like it should be a shoe-in?
Yes. No, I would agree. No, dude plays with an edge. He blocks well. And if he can't run away from you, he will throw a stiff arm into your chest, and you will not be able to recover for it. Showed better speed than maybe you thought he had. Gets that momentum going in that V8 engine, right?
I like that.
Like a Cadillac, and once it gets up to speed, he can go. That was fun to watch. And tight end screen on his second touchdown, a brilliant design from Matt LaFleur, really on both of those plays, resulting in 14 points for the Packers, capitalizing on turnovers. The negative going into Sunday's game was the suspension of Romeo Doubs for one game for conduct considered detrimental to the team. Romeo Doubs unhappy with the amount of targets he's received through a month of the season and decided that he just wasn't going to participate in practice on Thursday and Friday. There was a statement issued over the weekend saying that the team had made the difficult decision to suspend Romeo Doubs for one game. Matt LaFleur didn't do much with it after the game, spoke a little bit about it today. He had a conversation with Romeo Doubs. Before we get into your analysis, Gary, and what this could mean going forward, here's the full comment from Matt LaFleur, including Jason Wilde's question regarding Romeo Doubs.
On board with that concept? Or?
No, I think one thing that you totally respect about everybody is everybody has their own goals and aspirations and wants, but you just got to try to continue to keep it under what's best for our team, and ultimately our job is to win football games. And how we do that, I would love everybody to go out there and get every number that they'd love to hit, but especially for myself and trying to set up this team, it's all about winning. And how do you put each piece together to go out there and win games? And we're fortunate that we have a lot of players that we have a lot of confidence in, and specifically on the offensive side of the ball in regards to trying to get everybody involved. I mean, it's a good problem to have, but it can potentially be a problem if you let it be. And, I think for the most part, our guys have done a really good job of just putting the team first, and we're going to continue to stress that, and hopefully, they buy into that, because I am a believer, and I think we've seen it around here, when your team has success, generally all those accolades and come with that. So we're going to keep it about the team and continuing to focus on winning and doing our best to put everybody in a position to set us up to win games.
It's Packers head coach Matt LaFleur really saying nothing about the situation, if I'm being honest here, right?
That's what he's supposed to do.
He did the right thing.
That's his job.
Let me ask you about this. How is this going over in the locker room? Frustrated wide receiver, not getting enough balls his way. Never mind that backup quarterback played 2 of the games played of the Packers 5 this season. So really, with Doubs, it becomes, half the games with Jordan Love, half the games he played without Jordan Love. Numbers are going to be a little skewed based upon who is quarterback and what the game plan is for that particular contest. He might have a beef, but how is this going over in the locker room?
That's a good question, Greg. But I want to go back to this and then get to your question about the whole situation with Romeo Doubs. And I really don't know what it is, but for me, when stuff like that happens, it just doesn't happen overnight. Like, there had to be signs somewhere down the road that something was going on with him, that either they missed or he didn't talk about it, and it got to that point. And I'm that guy. I'm that guy where, like, I should have said something to him a long time ago, and I didn't say it. And then the guy keeps doing the same thing, and I didn't say it. And then the same thing then something else happened, and I didn't confront him, I didn't say it. Then all of a sudden, you wasted ketchup on the table, and then I go off, and that's not even really why I'm mad. I'm mad about something else. Now, this may not be the case in this instance, but I'm sure, let's take Jair Alexander, for example. That could be another example. Well, we knew all along that there was something with him and Joe Barry. And then all of a sudden, what led up to the big explosion was North Carolina. He's going to walk out there, but all along there were things between him and Joe Barry that we knew that something wasn't right with him. We can tell he was different. We can tell that he was acting right, but it didn't come out until he got suspended. I think Romeo Doubs, and I don't know what happened, but I think this falls in that category where I think some stuff was going on, and then all of a sudden he stays home for 2 days, which is like unheard of. I've never, ever played Little League. Well, in Little League, you can get sick with a cold and your mom will call in to your coach, obviously. But I've never had anything happen in college or on a professional level where a guy's just sitting at home and he's not at practice. That never happens. So how it plays out in the locker room will be who is privy to the information that Romeo has been upset this whole time and never said anything to anybody about it.
One of the things the Packers wide receiver room lacks is a veteran who you can go to or a veteran who can seek out and maybe sense what you're talking about, Gary, right?
Right.
Devontae Adams still on this team. Devontae sees something wrong.
Randall
Get over
Cobb,
here, man.
yes.
Man, I know you're not happy.
Right.
But let's ground ourselves here a little bit and have a conversation about it, right? Or Randall Cobb. It's a great example.
Yes.
This team is designed in a way where Romeo Doubs is the veteran of the group and is still a very young player. But by contrast to Romeo Doubs, who clearly is having an issue with the amount of balls coming his direction, is Christian Watson. You know who else has a legitimate beef about a lack of throws or targets his way? I would say Christian Watson. But again, it goes back to the initial point. Yeah, Malik Willis starting 2 games. Watson was even asked, hey, you're not getting a ball thrown your way all a lot. If I get a block, I'll block. If I catch 1 ball or 3 balls, whatever. As long as we win, we win. Doing whatever it takes to win a game. So you've got 2 totally different feelings and sentiments. Dobbs doesn't show up. You're leaving your team hanging out to dry, going into a road contest of a game that's going to put you above 500 and at the very least keep you on pace with the Minnesota Vikings, who are now 5-0. This is selfish, it is childish, and to me, it's not flying in the wide receiver room. And I'm not letting this garbage happen again, regardless if I'm a rookie or if I'm another younger player in that wide receiver group. You can't let players get away with this. Offer yourself as a resource. Talk, have conversations. But if you want to go ahead and do your own thing, go ahead and do it on another team, not on mine.
Yeah, and I don't know if it plays out like that in that locker room, and because I think football nowadays is the structure and it's much different than when I played. I think it's much different than when Mike Holmgren was coaching. I think there's a lot of things that happen where I don't know if forgiveness would be the word or how it plays out. Yeah, you did leave your team high and dry. But none of it makes sense because you're going back to California, which is your hometown, where all your family is. Something had to be just not right, knowing that you had all these tickets. Maybe they want to buy the tickets. I don't know. That's a joke, Greg. But something had to have been going on with him, knowing how big of a game this was for him and maybe his family, and for him not to even be there. I don't know how it plays out in the locker room. Here's what I do know in most locker rooms. Guys forgive them. And they pat him on the back. And they go, you know what, we need you to win. Now, who knows what happened at the end of the season, but right now, you need that guy to get you to the Super Bowl this year because there ain't no replacement unless they go sign Devontae Adams, and that ain't happening. So right now, you've got to figure out if you're his teammate and you guys are trying to get to the Super Bowl, you got to have Romeo Doubs. You got to figure out how to get him right to get to the Super Bowl.
That is the former player's view. I want to ask Jason Wilde, who's got firm knowledge of how the locker room works, coming up on the other side, what he thinks of this situation, because it is a very young group. What you're saying, I'm jiving with it. But on the back end of it, I'm also saying, and don't do that mess again.
Oh, absolutely.
That's enough of that.
Absolutely.
That is enough of that.
On the back end of that, that's what that is.
So who has the clout to say that to Rome? Jason Wilde joins us after this.
Back with more on the green and gold after this on Potawatomi Sportsbook Football Monday.
Milwaukee College Prep, dedicated to closing the opportunity gap for children in Milwaukee, redefining what's educationally possible so more children can pursue their dreams. Join me, Good Karma Brand's founder CEO Craig Karmazin, and Milwaukee College Prep Thursday, October 17th, and take a stand in closing the opportunity gap for Milwaukee scholars. Your support means quality education accessible to over 2,000 scholars in Milwaukee's most challenged communities. Milwaukee College Prep is closing the opportunity gap. To learn more and purchase tickets, go to MilwaukeeCollegePrep.com and click support.
Hey ESPN Milwaukee fans, Gary Olsen here from our friends at Best Electric Service, an A-plus Better Business Bureau, family-owned and operated, who have been serving you for over 50 years. No job is too big or too small, whether it's making panel upgrades to your home, installing your new Briggs & Stratton generator, or electric vehicle charging. Best Electric provides quality services at fair prices. They are experienced and licensed electrical contractors ready to get to work. Connect with the Best Electric Service. Find out more at bestelect.com.
ESPN Radio Sports Beat with Q Myers.
Today, we lost a bigger-than-life personality, Hall of Famer Dikembe Mutombo, who passed away at the age of 58 due to brain cancer. Mutombo, over the course of his 18-year career, played the game with a smile on his face with a side of intensity. A force to be reckoned with in the paint. His famous finger wag when he would block a shot, and you knew he was telling his opponent, no, 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 not today. For all he was on the court, he was even a bigger presence off the court. He poured his heart and soul into helping others. That's a direct quote from NBA Commissioner Adam Silver. Mutombo served as the NBA's first global ambassador, spoke 9 languages, founded the Dikembe Mutombo Foundation in '97, concentrating on improving health, education, and the quality of life for the people in the Congo. Shout out to Dikembe Mutombo, a Hall of Fame player on the court and a Hall of Famer in life. Rest easy, big fella. Coming up in 60 seconds, why the punter is no longer necessary in D.C.
ESPN Films presents Rhythm Masters, a Mickey Hart experience.
Rhythm Masters are elites in any craft.
Featuring Joe Montana.
It's all rhythm and timing.
Marshawn Lynch.
Rhythm was where my power came from.
Layla Ali.
It does make you think about how everything is connected.
And more, with new and original music from Mickey Hart of the Grateful Dead. Rhythm Masters, a Mickey Hart experience. Stream now on ESPN+.
At the Home Depot, we know Saturdays are for college football. That's why we have everything you need to never miss a play. Like North America's #1 home fire safety brand, Kidda. Because on a day full of football sounds you love, like fight songs, roaring crowds, and your favorite commentators...
like me, Kirk Herbstreit.
The last sound you want to hear is... Defend your game time with Kidda and the Home Depot. How doers get more done. Based on total household installations as of December 2023.
The New York Liberty are now up 2-0 in the WNBA semifinals versus the defending back-to-back champs, the Las Vegas Aces, after their 88-84 win on Tuesday. The Liberty went into the offseason after losing the 2023 finals with 2 goals, knocking off the Aces and winning a championship. The Liberty have been far and away the best team in the league for the majority of the season. Sabrina Ionescu, Brianna Stewart, Jonquel Jones, they've taken aim at the team out west and want to take the crown away from Vegas. Game 3 on Friday night will be back on the West Coast in a very hostile and fired-up arena, and something tells me the unanimous MVP, Asia Wilson, and the Aces won't go away easily. The series is the best of 5, and I expect both teams to lay it on the line Friday night for the Aces to keep their season alive and for the Liberty to knock off their arch rivals and punch their ticket to the WNBA Finals, where they'll take on either the Lynx or the Sun. But with all due respect to those two teams, this feels like the championship series. For the ESPN Sports Beat, I'm Q Myers.
You're listening to Potawatomi Sportsbook Football Monday, live from the Potawatomi Sportsbook Studios on 94.5 ESPN.
Tell me now, do you want it? 'Cause these dancing feet don't cry to the rhythm they cry for you.
Craig Batsky, Gary Ellerson with you. It's a Potawatomi Sportsbook Football Monday from the beautiful Potawatomi Sportsbook and the countdown to Monday Night Football here on ESPN. 26 minutes away from Travis Kelce and the Chiefs taking on Derek Carr and the New Orleans Saints, rounding out Week 5 of the NFL. Jason Wilde can be heard 9 to noon weekdays alongside Packers Hall of Famer Mark Tauscher on Wilde and Tausch on ESPN Wisconsin. Hello, Wilde.
Hello, guys. How are you tonight?
You're doing great. So we're trying to make sense of the Romeo Doubs situation, and I know you were in with Matt LaFleur in his press conference a little earlier this afternoon. We're trying to make sense of it. Jason, how well will this go over in the locker room? Because on one side, you could look at it and say, dude just gave up on his team before a road trip out to California, and the Packers were able to come away with a win. On the other side, Gary believes that players will put their arm around him and say, it's all right, let's go. Hey, we're in this thing together. How do you think, with your knowledge of the locker room, this will play out in the room and the locker room altogether?
Yeah, I mean, look, I think they will do the right thing as teammates and, like Gary says, put their arm around them and say, hey, all right, let's get back at it. But I also think that Romeo Doubs has some work to do, right? I mean, it just because they welcome you back and tell you that doesn't mean that they trust you now to be there when they need you. You chose yourself and your frustration over the team. And guys don't just wipe that off right away. They may put their arm around him and welcome him back, but I think he's got some repair work to do, just like Jair Alexander last year. Now, quite frankly, I thought, Jair Alexander at least had some really what I thought were strong allies in the locker room. Guys like Keyshawn Nixon, Eric Stokes, etc. So, while they and he didn't do something that left them without his services, right? He certainly did something selfish and knuckleheaded by appointing himself a captain, but he didn't abandon his team. And so I do think Romeo has some work to do. But again, the way you started this, I was only half kidding. Like, trying to make sense of it, I just think that's a fruitless endeavor because it doesn't make sense. I understand players being frustrated. I do. But his situation, I just don't see how it merited the extreme action that he chose to take. Maybe Gary can help me understand that, but, I just don't get it.
No, I don't get it either. But I feel like when you have these kind of dust-ups, and especially when it happened the way it happened with him, and I was explaining to Greg, there had to be something along the line, maybe even last year or a week or two ago, where he didn't either say anything to anybody or someone in the building, they missed it, and then it just kind of came out because it just doesn't make any sense. I mean, he's going home to where he's got to probably buy at least 30 tickets for people to come watch him play. It just doesn't add up. And I know I'm this way, Jason, is that sometimes I don't say things to people when I should say things to them, and it festers and it builds up. Then all of a sudden they do something like really, really stupid, and I go off. But that's not really why I should be going off. I should have been going off the stuff that they did like 2 or 3 weeks ago, and then I do something really stupid, and it just doesn't make sense to anybody. So I don't think this just happened last week. I think something happened leading up to this, and this is what you got.
Yeah. First of all, if there's anything that's building up with you regarding me, let me know now so I'm prepared for when you get after me, because we're on great terms. I would hate to do anything to jeopardize that. Now,
you're good.
Look, I want to be very – I feel like I've been saying this a lot, but it's true. I want to be very responsible and respectful when I talk about this, because I don't, that old saying about you don't know what's going on with people behind the scenes.
Correct.
I always try to live by that. If it's the clerk at Quick Trip is rude to me, I try to think, well, maybe she's got something going on that I don't know about, right? And so I apply that to Romeo Doubs. I do think this. He is, at least in my interactions with him, and maybe it's been different with his teammates or his coaches, but he is a very inward guy. Like, he's a little bit introverted. He's quiet. That old saying about still waters running deep. But I do think it's important to add this context. And if you remember last year in training camp, because I made a big deal out of this, and I reached out to the former quarterback immediately when he said this. The quote that he said was, I learned a lot from Aaron Rodgers, even though he barely spoke to me.
Yeah, I remember that.
And, I reached out. I said, look, Aaron, I just want you to know this. This is going to be a story. And he, without giving away too much of our private conversation, he was not pleased to hear that. Like, he felt like he had reached out and sat and had lunch with him multiple times and other things, probably given him more attention than maybe he gave other guys in 2022. But at the same time, I think he recognized, and my point to him, not that I'm the expert on all these things or leadership, but like my point to him was, if Romeo doesn't feel like you did enough, then doesn't that mean you didn't do enough? Like, that's the burden of leadership, right? And so his point was that he thought that Romeo was maybe sensitive. And I can totally see that, right? And so maybe that is part of it. I also would say this, going back to Amari Rodgers, and quite frankly, if I was a wide receiver for the Green Bay Packers, like they'd obviously, their depth chart would be in very dire straits. But I don't think during the Rodgers regime, I would have handled his leadership style especially well. For me, I am always going to do my best for my guys, and that goes for our team. That goes for my friends. I'm extremely loyal. But if you chew me out, that is not the way to get me motivated to do more. Like, for me, my personality is, I need you to ask for more from me. I know how good you can be, Jason. I need more from you. Or I was really disappointed in your effort. I know you're better than that. Like, those are the kinds of things. I mean, I could discuss that with my therapist if I ever get one. But the point is that that's the kind of different motivation for different guys. And I wonder if Aaron Rodgers, like it was with Amari Rodgers, I wonder if there was some of that with Romeo Doubs that I don't want to say he broke him because that's too strong, but I wonder if there's still some kind of buildup from his time with Rodgers that maybe scarred him a little bit.
That's a really interesting point. The other thing Gary and I mentioned, I think the Amari Rodgers discussion is really interesting. But on the other side of Aaron chewing out Amari was Devontae Adams saying, it's okay, here's how we do this together. What Romeo doesn't really have is that. Or who is that person, Jason? Because Romeo is he's like the vet of the whole group. And when Christian Watson is on the other side a couple weeks ago saying, I don't care if I catch one ball or none, I'll block all day as long as we get a win. Right? I mean, you talk about a contrast here, but who's the dude to put the arm around Rome and say, it's going to be fine? No, come to me with this stuff. We'll work it out together.
Yeah, they don't have one. I mean, that's the reality, right? Like, I guess it's Jordan Love. And I think Jordan's really good at that softer touch. And I also want to clarify something. I don't want to – after I got done saying all that, I kind of felt like maybe that gave him a free pass. And I definitely do not want to do that. Like, I don't want to make excuses for him. I'm just trying to understand him, right? Because as we've discussed, and I know you guys have as well, given the situation, his extreme choice of action, which was to not show up for work, makes no sense. And so I think we're all trying to understand, well, why would he do this? Because it's not like he had played 4 games in a row with Love and gotten like 3 targets. Like, it's not that scenario. So it just didn't make sense. And so, he is responsible for his choices and his behavior. Doesn't matter if it's Aaron Rodgers and how he made him feel, or Matt LaFleur chewed him out, or whatever it was that might have been the tipping point. That doesn't matter. Like, ultimately, he still chose poorly when he decided how to deal with this.
No, I would totally agree with that. It just didn't come out. Wasn't a good look. I want to move off that a little bit and get to the game against the Rams. And when I came away looking at that game after it was over, I still felt a little uneasy about how it transpired. I wasn't overly joyed, but I said to myself, a win's a win. But there's a lot of things that they have to clean up if they're looking to get to the playoffs.
Yeah, no doubt. And look, it wasn't a quality win, right? Like, this wasn't beating one of the top contenders in the NFC and doing it handily. This was facing a now 1-4 team that has a really good coach and a really good scheme and a really good veteran quarterback. But neither of their top two wide receivers, who are all pro level players, right? And Cooper Kupp and Puka Nacua, after what Nacua did last year, without 60% of their preferred starters on the offensive line. Like, we look at their defense and say, oh, their defense played well. And they did. They did. They should have. And then when we look at the quarterback play, and you know, I know this is getting redundant, but like, Jordan Love is not a finished product as a franchise quarterback yet. He is still in the developmental process. Right now he is a good NFL quarterback who clearly has the talent and the ability to be a fantastic franchise NFL quarterback. But he's only in his second year of starting, and there are going to be fits and starts and ups and downs and growing pains and bad decisions. And whether it was the Favrean up-for-grabs throw to Wicks for the third interception against the Vikings, or it was that very Favre-esque falling out of bounds after getting hit and underhanding the ball, it worked a lot better in, like, Seattle in 96 when he flipped it to Freeman for a touchdown than trying to flip it out of bounds and instead into the waiting arms of a defender. I mean, he knows you can't do that. Matt LaFleur has certainly made it clear you can't do that, but he did it anyway, and it was an idea. And so do I think he's still going to be making those mistakes like he has the last 2 weeks? No, but I think there's going to be a few more of those before the season's over. Like, the problem that we probably have is we thought he was past a lot of the growing pains that young quarterbacks experience, and that's our fault. We should have known better that as good as he is, there were still going to be those moments. And I recognize that I had reached that point prematurely with the throw he made in San Francisco. Like, that last interception on first down against his body over the middle late into triple coverage. Like, I thought he was better than that, but that's the kind of mistake that a lot of young quarterbacks make. And so I shouldn't have thought that he was beyond that already.
57.5 completion percentage, 8 touchdowns, 5 picks indicates the sloppiness that you're talking about. And you know, they'll be healthier, and, you know, Romeo will be off suspension, so hopefully they'll get a full complement of receivers back, too. The play that stood out most to me, Jason, the play that it sort of made me, you know, hold my breath and then exhale, was a scramble on 3rd and 12. That was the first time I really saw him step up and move with purpose to try and accomplish something, knowing that he's probably going to take a hit at somewhere. He did it, and I don't know how big that was to him, but for those who aren't in the mind and body of Jordan Love, fans watching, beat writers, reporters, anybody, that had to be a telling play to some level. That, to me, was like, okay, I think he is fine now. I think he is beyond the knee. He's not thinking about it anymore.
Yeah, I agree, but I would also add that he still needs to be smarter and slide, right? Like, yeah. I think there's a lot of – it's great, and I would praise him for that part of it. But on the flip side, like, and I was talking about this, I can't remember if it was with Tausch or maybe it was Gary with you and Homer after the game. But, like, you know, when Aaron Rodgers did that in 2010 and suffered the concussion in Detroit, he could have cost his team, who wound up winning a Super Bowl, a chance to even get there. Like, Deshaun Jackson, it was with you and Homer, Gary, now that I think about it. Deshaun Jackson, with that punt return for the Eagles to keep the Packers alive, like, if that doesn't happen, him getting a concussion and losing a very winnable Lions game and then losing the next week despite Matt Flynn playing well would have cost them a playoff berth. We would have never seen the Super Bowl run that gets them their first title since '96. And so my point is that you never know what that play might mean. And it's great that he showed that he had confidence in his knee. It's great that he did not suffer an injury. But Homer was getting after him after the game, and I'm Team Homer on that. You are too valuable to risk it, even on 3rd and 12. So I agree with everything you said, Greg, about what it meant, but it was a risk that that's another example, though, and you saw it with Rodgers. There was the development of that. Hey, I am too important to this team to take that chance, and that is another step in the development of a franchise quarterback.
Packers return to Lambeau in Week 6. They'll take on the Arizona Cardinals, who earned a win over the 49ers yesterday. That was a pretty impressive game as well in San Francisco. ESPN's Jason Wilde and Tausch, 9 to noon on ESPN Wisconsin. Appreciate it, Wilde. We'll check it again next week.
All right, guys. Take care. Be good.
Yep, you do the same. Yeah, I remember the play against Atlanta last year where Jordan Love did the same thing, right? And we got to have this. He scrambled out. He lowered the boom on a safety on the sideline. And Matt LaFleur said after the game, we don't want to be doing that. We don't want to be doing that.
What are you doing, dude?
Fired up his team.
Yeah.
Right? This dude's playing for us. I get it.
Yeah.
Right? Risk reward. Totally understand. From how is his knee standpoint, that one play definitely told me a lot.
Yeah.
6:51 here on ESPN Milwaukee. We'll step aside here, wrap up the first hour. Lots to get to here coming up in hour number 2. I also want to look at the play of Xavier McKinney. 4 years, $67 million.
Woo!
Doesn't seem like enough, does it?
They didn't pay him enough.
They didn't pay him enough. More after this.
More football talk coming up next. This is Potawatomi Sportsbook Football Monday. Greg Matzek, Gary Ellerson, the day after reaction show you need in your life.
This offense, Matt LaFleur's side of the ball, dragged this whole team through where they are right now.
It's Potawatomi Sportsbook Football Mondays with Greg and Gary.
The defense got hot at the right time. That might be what we're seeing here with the Packers defense as well.
Live from the Potawatomi Sportsbook Studios from 6 to 8 p.m. every Monday on 94.5 ESPN.
Guys, let's be honest. We like simple stuff, like sports 7 days a week. We like things uncomplicated, like Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men in Oak Creek on Howell Road, just south of Putes Road. Walk in anytime, 7 days a week, even Sundays. Lady Jane's, it's wicked awesome.
Hey, this is ESPN Wisconsin's Brad Nortman here to tell you about QC Kinetics. QC Kinetics is helping people get their life back, and I was able to see that with my own very eyes. I went and checked out the Greenfield location, got my free consultation to have them take a look at my back, and it was unbelievable. All the tools that QC Kinetics has in their toolkit to help people get their life back, enhance their joints, and finally get rid of that nagging joint pain. The free consultation I had was a robust diagnosis to help me figure out what the best personal journey was back to health. There are so many things at the cutting edge of cellular treatments that QC Kinetics is utilizing to give countless patients back their lives again. There's already been tens of thousands of satisfied patients all throughout the country, and you could be one too. It's finally time to get your life back and visit QC Kinetics just like I did and get your free consultation. Call them today at 414-285-3474. 414-285-3474. That's 414-285-3474.
My house has a new glow. I love my windows. Universal Windows Direct.
It's ESPN Wisconsin's Kyle Wallace. Right now at Universal Windows Direct, get 0% financing for 60 months, restrictions apply. For the last windows you'll ever need, go to uwd.com to schedule your free in-home estimate.
I love my windows. They've got that brand new home effect. Universal Windows Direct.
The 2024-25 Bucs season promises electrifying performances, unforgettable plays, and even more historic moments. Be part of it by securing your seats now at Bucs.com/full. Bucs season ticket members get the best pricing, premier ticket locations, and exclusive benefits. Secure your season membership and lock in your seats for what's sure to be an unforgettable 2024-25 season at Fiserv Forum. This era of Bucs basketball is something special. Get your tickets now at Bucs.com/full.
At Fleet
Farm, we're serious about offering whatever you need at the best prices guaranteed. Big things, little things, everything. Like Diamond Solar Salt for only $4.79 a bag. Or 25 pounds of black oil sunflower seed for $9.99. And 40 pounds of Litter Delight cat litter is on sale now for just $8.99. As always, if you happen to find it for less, we'll match it. So stock up on everything you need for everyday life at Fleet Farm. All at the best prices guaranteed.
That to-do list you have needs one more thing. Chill. It's an easy thing to do. Just crack open an ice-cold Coors Light and chill. Take the afternoon off and binge watch anything. Go to happy hour and stay for a couple hours. Who's counting anyways? Or hang out with just your dog because you've had enough human interaction this week. Whatever you do it with a Coors Light. Mountain cold refreshment made to chill. 2020 Coors Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado. Celebrate responsibly.
Earth Justice is a national legal nonprofit fighting to save lives, protect our climate, and strengthen our economy through the shift to zero emissions. Visit us at earthjustice.org. Earth Justice, because the earth needs a good lawyer.
We're back with Potawatomi Sportsbook Football Monday, live from the Potawatomi Sportsbook Studios on 94.5 ESPN.
Down the field, intercepted. And a fifth straight game. McKinney has an interception again. Tackled down at the 46. Picked up in the offseason. Free agent signee by way of the New York Giants. 5 straight games with an interception to start his career with Green Bay.
Defying logic here. Xavier McKinney, 4-year, $67 million free agent contract. I don't know why the Giants ever let him get away. He has helped transform this Packers defense. We'll get into some of the numbers of this defense. I don't believe the defense is performing as poorly as some people would think. And I want to get into some of the numbers coming up in the 7 o'clock hour. But just on the surface here, Gary, you talk about one player and their ability to transform a defense.
Okay.
Matthew Stafford is, to me, a Hall of Fame quarterback.
All right.
Xavier McKinney was in his mind yesterday to the point where all of a sudden you got a guy like Matthew Stafford who's going to give you a couple every game. You've talked about
it's
that.
on my list, number one.
He's going to give you a couple.
Jared Goff is in there, too.
But how long has it been since the Packers have had somebody in their deep secondary where a quarterback drops back and thinks, all right, where's that dude? Because he seems to be all over the place. Xavier McKinney is that dude. He appears to be everywhere. And now he's in the mind of good quarterbacks in the NFL.
And here's what makes it even more special. And I know you like to do these TFLs or TFNs or these things, these numbers, things you guys like to do. I would venture to say he is doing it without his front seven getting any pressure on the quarterback. That's what makes it impressive. Because when you're getting pressure on the quarterback, that means you're rushing the throw and you're making errant throws. For the most part, that's not happening up front. So you've got to be even more you got to have even more innate ability to read the quarterback and have a sense of where he's going with the football. Now, a lot of this could be studying a lot, film study, and knowing the tendencies of the quarterback and knowing what all the route combinations are to get that. But not only that, Greg, the Duke gets a fumble recovery yesterday, too. And so a lot of that, too, is some guys just got a nose for the football, and you can't coach it. That's who he is. And I think he's got a little bit of all those things that I just said in Xavier McKinney.
Much more on McKinney throughout the program here and an hour number 2. I don't think the Packers win that game without Xavier McKinney.
No doubt.
Yesterday. They don't win that game.
Not at all. No doubt.
He sets up the offense for 14 third-quarter
Thank
points.
you.
Hour number 2 of the program after this, settling in for Monday Night Football between the Chiefs and the Saints.
Hey ESPN Milwaukee fans, Gary Olsen here from my friends at Best Electric Service, an A-plus Better Business Bureau, family-owned and operated, who have been serving you for over 50 years. No job is too big or too small, whether it's making panel upgrades to your home, installing your new Briggs & Stratton generator, or electric vehicle charging. Best Electric provides quality services at fair prices. They are experienced and licensed electrical contractors ready to get to work. Connect with the Best Electric Service. Find out more at bestelect.com.
We're definitely going to be late to the concert. I feel like we should be there by now.
I'm just taking a little detour.
I gotta fill up my gas tank, and I know this place a couple towns over where the gas is cheaper.
Are you serious? We're gonna be late for the concert because you're driving out of the way for cheaper gas? Just use Upside.
What's Upside?
Upside is the free cashback app that gets you real cash back for every gallon of gas you buy.
Wait, I can get cash back just for buying the gas I need anyway?
Yes, I use it all the time, and I've made around $200. Now pull over so you can download the Upside app before we miss the concert.
Download the free Upside app now to earn cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code WELL to get an extra 25 cents per gallon on your first tank. You can cash out anytime, right to your bank, PayPal, or as a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code WELL for a 25 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code WELL for a 25 cents per gallon bonus. That's code WELL.
It takes a team to meet just about any goal, and that's as true on the football field as it is in the office. So it's good to know that you have the Gordon Flesh Company on your side. For more than 60 years, GFC has provided cutting-edge office technology for companies of all sizes, and as the nation's largest Canon dealer, GFC delivers the latest office technology, service, and is supported by the most experienced professionals in the industry. That's business technology managed. Visit gflesh.com to learn more.
Tune in to KBN every day at 2 o'clock. Kyle Bruston Nortman. 94.5 ESPN is WKTI and WKTI HD, Milwaukee.
A locally owned Good Karma brand station.
The game is over, and it's the day after.
Wide open. He's got Kraft. Tight ends running with stiff arm. Kraft scored the distance. Second and goal. It's to Kraft. Kraft fighting for it. Did he get in? A second touchdown down the field, intercepted. And a fifth straight game. McKinney has an interception again.
Let's react to the game and look ahead. This is Potawatomi Sportsbook Football Monday.
That was exhausting, but certainly proud of our guys just to continue to battle.
Live from the Potawatomi Sportsbook Studios, here's Greg Matzik and Gary Ellerson.
Welcome back in. It's Potawatomi Sportsbook Football Monday with Greg and Gary from beautiful Potawatomi Sportsbook. We are looking ahead this hour to the Arizona Cardinals, the Packers' opponent in Week 6 of the NFL season. Also recapping yesterday's win, 24-19 over the Rams. And we'll take your thoughts at 800-990-3776. We'll dive back into some of the good, bad, and the ugly from yesterday's win, including the continued brilliant play of Xavier McKinney. But let's take a deeper dive in a 30,000-foot view.
Let's deep
Gary.
dive. Yeah, I like that.
5 weeks into the season now.
Yes.
Packers are 3-2. Mm-hmm. Right in the mix here in the NFC North. Minnesota Vikings are undefeated. The Lions, a bye week, so they are 3-1. They'll be back at it next weekend. Taking on the Cowboys, I believe. The Packers will host the Arizona Cardinals, as I outlined. So if you look at this 5-month sample size, because you're now more than a quarter of a way into the season, it's not perfect math because you're talking about an odd number of games now, but we'll use this 5-game sample size. Are the Packers about where you thought they would be? Are they lacking in an area you expected better? Are they maybe ahead of the game in one facet or another? Broad brush stroke here. You're looking at the Packers, 5-week sample size, collectively, what you've seen. Where do they stand?
You know, that's a good question because normally, Greg, we break the season down in quarters. You know, after 4 games, you want to be like 3-1. And of course, when we played 16 games, that worked out great. So now we're doing 5 games. You have 17 games. It's going to be 8 before we know it. But after 5 games, I think that's a good time to take a look at it and try to assess his team and see where they are, if they're doing what you think they should be. For me, I still think they're behind the curve, but I think a lot of teams are behind the curve too. I mean, there's some
in what facet? Where are they most lagging to you?
Well, right now, I think they're most lagging offensively in the cohesion of, and because of injuries, of what they really want to try to accomplish from an offensive standpoint. Because you had to have 2 different offenses, right? You had to have a Malik Willis offense, and then you had to have an offense when Jordan Love came back with the bad knee, and then all of a sudden you'll let him loosen up a little bit, and then you got to figure out how to get Josh Jacobs more involved in your offense because that's much different than what you had with Aaron Jones, and then Christian Watson's been out, which he was out a lot last year too. I guess it shouldn't be a big thing to overcome. But then Luke Musgrave, I thought he'd be more of a valuable part within his offense. But the flip side of that, Tucker Kraft has just absolutely taken off. But just say for me, I thought the offense would be better at this point than it is, but now I understand why it isn't, because of the things I just talked about with injuries at your quarterback situation and with Josh Jacobs and no Aaron Jones. I think the Aaron Jones thing is bigger than I ever thought it would be.
I am at a point now where I'm going to stop giving Jordan Love a pass, okay? I didn't think he played well against the Eagles. But he didn't play in the preseason, right? He didn't have a preseason, right? His first time out in live bullets. They're in a foreign country.
Right.
Then he gets injured, right? So you get a couple-week pause on your evaluation. He comes back, and can he play? Can he not play? How's he going to move? Can they win this game against Minnesota? You're back at home. That's a good thing. Will the offense be compromised in any way? And it was a sluggish start and good finish. Okay. Started to move the right direction. Against the Rams, you noted some of the issues that they have with their personnel. Again, a sluggish start, one of the worst mistakes I've ever seen a quarterback make, and then he responds going 9 for 9 with 2 touchdowns in his next 9 opportunities. But still, collectively now, you're looking at 8 touchdowns and 5 interceptions and a completion percentage under 58%. How long can you give him a pass? Because it was Brazil, then recovering from the injury, and then just kind of a slow start. Oh, you're minus 2 wide receivers in Romeo Doubs and Christian Watson. I think I'm at my limit. Like, this needs to get better from the quarterback. I get it. There's discussion about Rashawn Gary. Got to get to the quarterback and, the health. And look what Dobbs did. He kind of just threw his team under the bus. The quarterback has to play better. Jordan Love has been below average, in my opinion.
Well, let me just give you a broader view on that, if I may. And I had said this to you earlier and on a lot of other shows that I've done. God knows I'm in so many shows, and I kind of forget what I say. But I do know I've said this about Jordan Love. And I think I've said it to Homer several times. This year is about the adjustment to the adjustment. Because right now, teams have had all offseason to see what you did well last year. Come by surprise. And they had all last year to see what you did that you were so successful at the last 8-9 games of the year. And now they're giving you, the defenses, to Jordan Love, the adjustment to you from last year. And now Matt LaFleur and Jordan Love have to have another adjustment to them of what they're seeing this year. He's a year away, because he's not like Aaron Rodgers, where now he's seen everything. I mean, I don't know if there's anything anybody can throw at Aaron Rodgers he hadn't seen. Not so true with Jordan Love. Now he's his second go round, and he's seeing some stuff that he's never seen, that he didn't see last year on how they're playing him. So I'm not saying you should give him a pass, but I'm just letting you know he is still a young, developing quarterback in the league. And what has happened this offseason, every defensive coordinator broke down all his film all offseason and say, this is how we got to play him. Now, Matt LaFleur and Jordan Love has got to come up with another game plan. Okay, they're playing us this way. This is what we got to do. Not necessarily just Jordan Love, but also the receivers as well. They're going to get different looks this year than what they didn't see last year.
Josh Jacobs is number 4 in the NFL in rushing. Does that surprise you when I say that?
Yeah.
Number 4 in the NFL in rushing.
I thought he'd be lower.
That's pretty impressive, right? Just over 400 yards.
Yeah.
A lot of damage was done in that first game that Malik Willis played against the Indianapolis Colts. But nonetheless, that surprised me a little bit. He has been productive. It's been a little disjointed in terms of his use after that 30-plus carry performance against Indianapolis. That number surprised me a little bit. The Packers are number 3 in the NFL in rushing yards per game. Surprised or not?
Surprised. Absolutely.
The Packers are number 4 in the NFL in total yards per game. Surprised or no?
Not really surprised at that, because they put up some big numbers with Malik.
The Packers are number 1 in the NFL in turnover differential and number 1 in the NFL in total turnovers forced. So for all the discussion about the defense, you cannot leave out of the conversation what they're doing in the turnover game.
Yeah.
It's helping them.
Yes.
It is keeping points off the board.
Right.
And without those turnovers yesterday,
they don't
Xavier
win.
McKinney's right in the middle of it. They don't win the game.
They don't win. No, they don't win. And I'm good with that because I think Matt LaFleur preaches that 100% all the time at the turnover ratio. You got to be on the positive with that.
The Packers are number 8 in points per game scored.
Okay.
They are number 14 in points per game allowed, just over 21.5 points.
Okay. Number 8 in points scored. I thought they'd be a little bit higher in points scored. And what was your other stat that you gave me?
Number 14 in points per game allowed. So about middle of the pack, but about 21.5 points per game.
And you know what?
Not a crazy total.
I didn't know what was with this Jeff Hafley defense. I just thought if they could be top 15, I think you're good. And I think that's about where they are.
Packers have never won a Super Bowl without a top 5 defense.
Yeah.
And I'll give you this number. They are number 7 in the league in sacks with 16. Now, that's a little inflated.
That's crazy to
given what they did against Tennessee, right? I mean, they pummeled Will Levis.
They got fat there.
And I need to caution myself on making a pass for what I'm seeing for the Packers' defensive line and pass rushers because
gotta caution yourself.
Well, week number 1 it was Jalen Hurts. You got to corral him, right?
Yes.
Don't let him get loose.
Yes,
and they didn't.
Right.
In week number 2, it was, well, here we go, Anthony Richardson. That dude can kill you. Don't let him get free.
Can't get outside. And he did once and almost broke your back.
So we almost gave a pass to the defensive line and the pressure on the quarterback in those first 2 games given the quarterback. So I thought it was all scheme-focused, and this is okay. Those quarterbacks did not run wild. And then in week 3, they destroy Will Levis.
Right.
They sack him 8 times.
Which they should have.
Well, see, there you go.
Yeah.
Another game plan. So they do have it. They can dial it up.
Right.
But
and this Sunday will be the same thing.
With Kyler Murray. So for those of you thinking that this has to get better and it has to get better now, well, I don't look at this week as the opportunity to get better with your pass rush. Mm-hmm. It maybe further extends the idea that you can control a mobile quarterback. When the Packers dialed up pressure on Matthew Stafford late, and I do like this about what Jeff Hafley did yesterday, because the second to last drive the Rams had, boy, it felt really easy, didn't it? Mm-hmm. It felt really easy. And then, with the game on the line, and on a 4th and 4, I believe it was, we sent the house.
Yes.
Go get him.
Yep.
Move that old quarterback off his spot, and he had to force a throw off his back foot, and a rookie defensive back made a nice play. Mm-hmm. I like the aggressiveness on the final drive. Kind of wish I'd seen a little more than that on the drive previous.
Right. And I would agree with you. So we don't know what we're getting right now. And if we try to add all this up, and we're looking at 5 weeks in now, it's been a hodgepodge of everything defensively because of what you talked about, the quarterback play. The quarterback play would dictate to the defensive coordinator how they want to play and how they should set their defense. And if you have that receiver like a Justin Jefferson, that changes things too. If you got Jair on how you want to play him. So there's been a lot. And we're talking about a couple people like we've been talking about Rashawn Gary when we're going to see him show up. And, just certain individuals. Quay Walker is taking some heat to where he's at. There's a couple of guys that you think that you should see the numbers should bear out better than what they are right now.
Well, at least once a game now, Quay Walker is making an impact play, made a nice play behind the line of scrimmage. When he seeks and destroys and guesses right, it's over. Like he's going to make the play.
Right.
I must admit,
But if you have him just sitting there at home reading and watching, you get nothing.
It's not making best use of his talent.
No.
Right?
Mm-mm.
I'll be honest with you. I didn't know Rashawn Gary played yesterday.
Yeah.
I didn't even see him.
Right.
No impact at all.
Right.
That's the problem.
Yeah.
Because as we discussed before, it's usually not a lack of effort.
No.
For Rashawn.
That guy's
he plays
coming
hard
all the time.
But he cannot get home.
Something's not
anything.
right there. I don't know what it is.
800-990-3776 if you'd like to join us. We'll continue this on the other side. A little game. We played it last week, and it went over so darn well.
Do it again?
It's becoming the world-famous fraud or for real.
Okay.
We'll play it on the other side.
More football talk coming up next. This is Potawatomi Sportsbook Football Monday. The Homer Hour with special guests every day from 5 to 6.
You would vote the opening of the show should be Brett Favre as an alien.
If a guy wrote a song for me, it would probably be my opening.
All right.
That's just me.
Well, but how many other people do you think have written a song for me?
None.
Pepper, what's your vote?
I will say 0 as well.
You guys are so mean and accurate.
Thank you. That's awesome.
The Homer Hour with Homer. Weekdays from 5 to 6, right here on 94.5 ESPN and streaming live on YouTube.
Hi, Drew and Jonathan Scott here, reminding you that a lot of life's firsts are better with help from American Family Insurance. Like your first home expansion or your first big lightning strike. There's a first for everything. Get the right home policy at the right price with the right help from American Family's agents. Life's better when you're under American Family's roof. Insure carefully, dream fearlessly. Get a quote and find an agent at amfam.com.
Products not available in every state. American Family Mutual Insurance Company SI and its operating company 6000 American Parkway, Madison, Wisconsin.
The annual Catholic Memorial High School Open House is October 13th. If your family is interested in becoming part of the CMH tradition, make plans now to attend from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. on Sunday, October 13th. Register at CatholicMemorial.net. As the only school awarded the Exemplary Award for Academic Excellence by the Archdiocese, find out how your student can achieve more at CMH. Tour the school, meet faculty and coaches, learn about all the clubs and extracurricular activities. Register today at CatholicMemorial.net. Catholic Memorial High School, where you rise.
Ready to tackle your home improvement project this fall? Exterior Pros and Baths is here to help you score big with quality home exterior and shower upgrades. As a 5-time President's Club Award winner, Exterior Pros is not playing around. With flexible financing, it's never been easier to invest in your home without breaking the bank. Get started today and save $2,000. Visit extpros.com or call 262-800-4274. That's 262-800-4274. Trust the pros and kick off your home transformation today.
The Milwaukee Symphony Orchestra has document imaging technology from James Imaging Systems. Director of Ticket Operations and Group Sales, Luther Gray.
James Imaging has been a wonderful partnership with the Milwaukee Symphony and just great to work with.
In what ways?
If an issue does arise, they're very prompt, polite, and professional. It makes me feel empowered because I find it very easy to resolve something.
Luther James Imaging Systems is a local business technology company that stands with their clients over the long term.
Yes, before, during, and after the sale, James Imaging is there, and they are making sure you get the full value in life of every product that you have with them.
Luther, any advice for others looking for a long-term business technology partnership?
I would tell them that James Imaging is the way to go.
Start your business technology partnership with James Imaging Systems today. It's easy to do. Call 262-781-7700 or visit jamesimaging.com. James Imaging Systems, your local business technology partner.
When the power goes out, your life is disrupted. Heat, air conditioning, refrigeration, phones, all gone. Be prepared for the next outage with a Generac home standby generator. After sensing a power outage, a Generac generator automatically restores your home's power, whether you're home or away. Power your life with a generator from Adams, Wisconsin's #1 rated Generac dealer. Adams provides sales, installation, maintenance, and 24/7 service from all locations. Learn why Adams is your best choice in providing power peace of mind. Visit adamspower.com today.
Sharon needed legal help. She needed Gruber Law Offices.
When I think about Gruber Law Office, I think about how they took care of me, how they make sure that you get what you're supposed to get. Gruber Law Office. One call, that's all. I will always trust one call, that's all.
Injured? Call Gruber Law Offices today. One call, that's all.
They are the best. I'm very happy.
This is Potawatomi Sportsbook Football Monday, live from the Potawatomi Sportsbook Studios on 94.5 ESPN.
Just outside of the yard away, first and goal. Jacobs, Townsend, gonna cut it outside, and Jacobs, waiting for the signal, touchdown.
First touchdown of Josh Jacobs' tenure as a member of the Green Bay Packers. I went through the numbers earlier. Jacobs, 402 yards rushing so far this season. Derrick Henry leads everybody in rushing with 572 yards. Jordan Mason is number 2 on that list at 536 yards for the 49ers. Christian McCaffrey been injured all season. Then Saquon Barkley, which is somewhat amazing because they had a bye. This last weekend. Josh Jacobs, number 4 on the list, and Chuba Hubbard, as we all expected, of the Carolina Panthers, is number 5. Those are your top 5 running backs. The Packers have a top 5 rushing offense. which is amazing to me because the other teams around them are the Ravens, rushing quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
You've got the Eagles with a rushing quarterback. You've got Washington with a very mobile quarterback, right? So the Packers are getting it done. I know there was a little bit of Malik Willis in there, too, to account for the Packers' total. But, rushing the football, that has certainly been a strength here of the Green Bay Packers. All right, we are back. Time to unveil another episode of Fraud or For Real. You ready to play?
Let's go.
All right, Gary, you know how we do this. I go through the division leaders because there's only 2 unbeaten teams left in the NFL.
Wow.
One's
Really?
about to get going. In fact, one is now on the field. The Saints and Chiefs are underway from Arrowhead Stadium. So I'll give you the team, division-leading team. You tell me, fraud or for real? Are you ready to play?
Yes, I am ready to play.
Let's start with these Kansas City Chiefs. Some bad news for the Chiefs. Learned today, star wide receiver Rashee Rice, the second-year player, done for the season. He is out. Isaiah Pacheco, their lead running back, also injured. Hollywood Brown, their free agent acquisition at wide receiver, will not play at all this season. Yet the Chiefs are 4-0.
Yeah.
Are they frauds or for real?
They're for real until they get knocked off the pedestal. Right now, no one's knocked them off the pedestal.
They have found a way.
That's what they do,
like everything has been tight.
Yes.
Everything has been one score.
Right.
Everything has been nip and tuck.
Mm-hmm.
And here they are, opening drive of a football game against the New Orleans Saints, and Derek Carr is intercepted by the Chiefs. You don't think about the Chiefs' defense so much.
Mm-mm.
But Patrick Mahomes, though his numbers are not gaudy, they are anything but, dude finds a way better than most quarterbacks in the NFL. Probably all quarterbacks in the NFL.
And with what he has to work with. Right? I mean, you talked about the injuries that they've had offensively. Tyreek Hill's gone. They never replaced him. They go out and get MVS for a couple seasons. And so they've been able to plug and play their receivers. And it's got to be more about the greatness, I think, of Andy Reid, which a lot of people don't talk about, in conjunction with the quarterback and the tight end duo.
Here's how it's mapped out for the Chiefs so far this season. 7-point win over the Ravens in Week 1. 1-point win over the Bengals in Week 2. 5-point win over the Falcons in Week 3. And 7-point win over the Chargers in Week 4. Everything's been one score, right, or less. So it's been tight, but they have always found a way. They have the Saints tonight. They have got the 49ers coming up next week. So Gary says the Chiefs are for real.
For real.
Are the Minnesota Vikings frauds or for real?
Well, I saw a chink in the armor a little bit this week, and I think it's really going to be about Aaron Jones. And if Aaron Jones is out, I think you'll see the real Minnesota Vikings. They don't have anybody else as dynamic as he is. But right now, I'm saying for real, because no one's figured it out. Justin Jefferson is the best receiver in the NFL. Just get it in his vicinity. And they're going to be in a lot of games just because of that. Because even if he doesn't catch the ball, he's going to get a penalty with you holding him or pass interference.
Aaron
which
Jones
could be a huge chunk
with a hip injury in that game against London, a win over the New York Jets. Hey, look, I'm by no means a Jets fan. If you're a Packers fan, you likely wanted the Jets to win that game. You want to talk about frauds. The New York Jets are awful. They have zero connection on offense. It is a mess. Garrett Wilson had 22 targets yesterday because Aaron doesn't really trust throwing to anybody other than Garrett Wilson and, on occasion in the red zone, Allen Lazard.
Well, Allen Lazard, I think, was their leading receiver coming into that game.
Had the most touchdowns.
And so that's how weird that thing is over there.
Everything looks archaic.
Yeah.
Everything looks contested. The offensive line is not great.
Well, there's no movement with the receivers. I mean, they don't do any motion. Nothing. They just set it and go.
Nathaniel Hackett is a mess.
Well, no.
Aaron is stumping for him, but there is zero.
Well, that's the Mike McCarthy's offense.
Here. Well, right, but that was archaic. That's what got him fired.
Well, why is Aaron still running it?
Is it Aaron's offense or is it Nathaniel's offense? That's a good question. But everything
I think they both came with each other.
Everything is contested. There's no space. There's nothing creative.
No.
You look at Tucker Kraft's touchdowns yesterday.
Yeah.
Those are brilliant play designs.
They were design plays.
Brilliant playing designs.
Yeah.
Go watch the Vikings and Jets from yesterday and be prepared to have some tissue because your eyes are going to bleed.
Yeah.
The Jets' offense is a mess. And Aaron Rodgers is also a mess.
Yeah, he is.
And I don't mind watching it. The Houston Texans, division leader. Frauds or for real? Certainly entertaining, but are they frauds or for real?
I think they're for real. Another team in the AFC. Of course, everything goes through Kansas City, right? We've already talked about that. But I think they're for real. Young quarterback in C.J. Stroud. They seem to play pretty good defense. I mean, that's going to be tough over there. I mean, you got Buffalo, which we just saw that game yesterday. And, Buffalo, you're probably going to ask me about them a little bit. But I still think they are a for-real team in the AFC.
Here's what has me hung up a little bit about Houston. I think they're entertaining. I think they're fun. C.J. Stroud's a good quarterback. Nico Collins is the best receiver no one's ever heard of.
Right.
And he had a hamstring injury the other day. So keep an eye on that. But nonetheless, the one thing that has me pause about Houston, and I do think they're entertaining. They got a great kicker. They've got some good components. They play in the worst division in the NFL.
Yes.
And they have a negative point differential.
Yeah.
They have been outscored this season to this point. Just keep an eye on that, right? They're leading their division, and they'll likely win their division.
Which means they'll get to the playoffs.
Well, sure, they'll be a playoff team.
Right.
2-point win over the Colts, a narrow defeat over the Bears.
Yeah.
They lost to the Vikings 34-7, one of your for-real teams. Barely beat a one-win Jaguars team. Barely beat a Bills team that I will ask you about next. Are the Bills frauds or for real? This is a couple of duds now for Josh Allen.
I don't know what to make of them. I really don't. Right now, I'm going to say they're a fraud because I think everything they do is about the quarterback play. And they've been trying to make him play hero ball forever, how long he's been there, 5-6 years. And I think now they're on the other side of that with Josh Allen. He just can't do it by himself. They need a run game. They need to play better defensively. They need more help for him.
Ravens
Fraud.
and Steelers, co-division leaders now in the AFC. The Ravens and Steelers, very different teams. They do it very different ways. Frauds or for real? Ravens and Steelers.
You want me to do both of them at the same time?
Well, you can do it.
Ravens and Steelers. The Ravens are for real. With what they went and acquired at running back. What's my guy's name?
Derrick Henry.
Derrick Henry. I mean, people thought he was washed up, thought he was done coming out of Tennessee.
Was there a version of him when you played?
Oh, not like that. That guy can pick up a house. I don't know I can do that. Yeah, he's pulling houses on his back, all those kind of things. Not like that. I don't think the NFL have ever seen anything like him before. He's one of one. I mean, he's, 6'3", 6'4", 250, 260. Not Josh Jacobs, the Jacobs kid from...
Brandon Jacobs?
Brandon Jacobs.
Remember him? Yeah.
Yeah. Charles Wilson does, too. Was about that big. But Derrick Henry is a special kind of a player. And I think that Baltimore may be the best team in the AFC outside of Kansas City. They don't get Kansas City to run for their money.
What about the Steelers? They suffered a loss yesterday to the Dallas Cowboys. Kind of a strange game. You had a lot of rain fell. There was kind of a delay in that game, but the Dallas Cowboys ultimately preserved a win over a Steelers team that seems to have components on defense. I'm not sure how believable their offense is, though.
Well, their quarterback situation is not as good as you want it to be. They're going to play steal a ball, right? So it's going to be about defense, special teams, and you can't lose it on offense. Justin Fields yesterday got knocked in the mouth, came back in. You look at Russell Wilson, I think he's their third quarterback right now. They're for real in the fact that I think Mike Tomlin is such a great coach that they'll be in it in the end.
Washington Commanders at 4-1.
Ask me the question.
Fraud or for real?
They for real. Jaden Daniels is for real. I mean, he's the best-looking young quarterback we've seen in a minute. And Cliff Kingsbury, who's the offensive coordinator, was the head coach with the Arizona Cardinals, got a new lease on life, figured out that he's not really a head coach, that he's just an offensive coordinator. Let me do that. And Jaden Daniels right now is just blossoming under Cliff Kingsbury. For real.
I don't think that he will win the MVP award, but he's going to get votes.
Yes.
He will get votes
at this point right
and
now.
Could be one of those like offensive player of the year candidates as a rookie quarterback. The Commanders have a plus 40 point differential for what it's worth. They've won 4 in a row after losing their first game of the season. And finally, in our game of fraud and for real, it's co-division leaders once again. You can handle them one at a time. the Atlanta Falcons and the Buccaneers. Now, keep in mind, it was Thursday Night Football in which Atlanta won a crazy shootout over Tampa Bay. Kind of a resurgent Tampa Bay team with Baker Mayfield.
Right.
Maybe finally now the Atlanta offense starting to get things moving with Kirk Cousins after a few games.
Atlanta
Frauds
Falcons?
or for real?
Atlanta Falcons?
Yes, sir.
They should win that division, don't you think?
I would think, but Tampa Bay scored 90 points in New Orleans scored 91 points in their first two games.
Tampa Bay?
All of a sudden, Tampa Bay looks pretty good on offense with Baker Mayfield. It doesn't seem like anybody can play defense. And Carolina's just not in it.
No, they're out. They're frauds. You know you're going to ask me about that.
No. Okay. Well, they are for real in that they're frauds.
Okay. Atlanta, frauds are for real, right? I'm going to go with for real for right now. It's going to be week to week. Fluid situation with Atlanta.
Okay.
I like what Kirk Cousins has been able to go in there and do. They've had weapons, and he's been able to spread the football out. Now, I know he was still kind of banged up a little bit with Achilles, but I think you're starting to see him play much better football. I think he's getting healed up there.
Coming up next, we'll look ahead to the Arizona Cardinals, the Packers' Week 6 opponent here at Lambeau Field, Green Bay, coming in off their 24-19 win over the weekend against the Los Angeles Rams, not the Atlanta Falcons.
Yeah.
And the Cardinals picking up a very interesting win on the road against San Francisco. We'll preview the matchup coming up after this.
Back with more on the green and gold after this on Potawatomi Sportsbook Football Monday.
It's bird bashing season when you swoop into Potawatomi. Thursdays, you could win up to a wicked 50 grand cash in the Bird Bash Game Show. Just play with your rewards card all October for entries. All Bird Bash entries go towards a December 20th giveaway with a monstrous 300 grand in prizes. Bird Bash makes its bewitching return. Only at Potawatomi Casino Hotel, Milwaukee. Learn more at paysbig.com/birdbash. Must be 21 years old to play.
There's a good chance you're on a budget. We all are. But she wants a diamond. You know it. I know it. And Robert Hack Diamonds knows it too, because they offer a huge collection of lab-grown diamonds, and they sell them at crazy prices. How about 2-carat total weight diamond studs for $8.95? Robert Hack Diamonds can get any size, shape, or clarity in natural or lab-grown diamonds. Don't buy until you call Robert Hack Diamonds. $8.95 for a 2-carat pair of diamond studs. Oh, baby! Robert Hack Diamonds in Greenfield and in Brookfield. Why overspend when you can save at Robert Hack Diamonds for the same diamond you're looking for? Some jewelers are charging nearly $5,000 for a lab-grown diamond. Not Robert Hack. Your visit will be worth it, and she'll think so too. Robert Hack also offers repair services and cash for your old gold. But remember, before you do anything, as I did, RobertHackDiamonds.com, and visit them in Brookfield or in Greenfield.
ESPN Wisconsin's Mark Tosher here for my friends at Kohler Services. If you need a bath or shower remodel, turn to Kohler Services. Family owned for 150 years, Kohler is your Wisconsin manufacturer providing care for life. And this month only, get 0 interest for 12 months and a free shower door with your Lugstone shower remodel. Visit KohlerServicesWI.com to request your free quote. With fast, professional installation always included. That's KohlerServicesWI.com.
Football season is off and running. Don't miss out on the exciting game day experience this season in Green Bay. Ticket King is the place for green and gold tickets. With offices in Milwaukee and Green Bay, Ticket King is your local and most trusted source to buy Green Bay tickets. Experience Green Bay football this season by visiting theticketking.com or call 414-273-6007. Reach out now for available tickets to Sunday's game against Arizona. Follow Ticket King on Facebook and Instagram. The place to get tickets is theticketking.com.
Stupid stairs.
Mike, I thought we were going to remodel and put our master bedroom on the first floor. We're getting old, you know.
I know I usually come up with some excuse to avoid home improvements, but I guess that would make sense. We do it for our own customers all the time, so maybe we should now too.
Whether you're making your empty nest more accessible or creating the house of your dreams, call Professional Construction Inc., your go-to contractor for 20 years.
Guys, let's be honest. We like simple stuff. We like sports 7 days a week. We like things uncomplicated and uncompromising. Like an award-winning men's grooming experience from Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men in Oak Creek on Howell Avenue, just south of Putes Road. Open 7 days a week, even Sundays. Walk in anytime, and before you know it, our talented stylist will bring you back to a simpler time. A time when you were handsome and clean. Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men in Oak Creek on Howell Avenue, just south of Putes Road. Walk in anytime. Lady Jane's, it's wicked awesome.
Good Karma Brands is proud to be an equal opportunity employer. Our policy is to provide equal opportunity employment, development, and advancement to all current and potential teammates. If you are an organization that maintains a job bank, provides employment information, or gives job referrals, you may request to be placed on the station's mailing list for future career opportunities. To learn more about careers at Good Karma Brands, please email careers@goodkarmabrands.com.
You're listening to Potawatomi Sportsbook Football Monday, live from the Potawatomi Sportsbook Studios on 94.5 ESPN.
Hey folks, it's time to tell you about my good friends over at Best Electric Service. An A-plus Better Business Bureau, family owned and operated, have been in business and serving you for over 50 years. No job is too big or too small, whether it's making panel upgrades to your home, installing your new Briggs & Stratton generator, or electric vehicle charging. And all residential service calls, Best Electric provides quality services at fair prices. They are experienced and licensed electrical contractors ready to get to work. Connect with the Best Electric Service. Find out more at bestelect.com.
I also think a lot of the times that we're rushing forward, we're getting chipped on the edges. I mean, that's today's football. And I know, like, going through training camp, talking to the D linemen, they're like, how come you always got a chip? And I'm like, well, because you guys are good rushers, and if we don't, you're going to get home. So I think just a lot of people, when you're going against good people, you better do what you got to do in order to give the quarterback time to get the ball out of his hands. And that's today's football. And so you got to find ways to try to get around that.
May not be very easy to get to the quarterback this weekend at Lambeau Field. Packers take on Kyler Murray and the Arizona Cardinals. Cardinals coming off a very entertaining 24-23 win over the San Francisco 49ers, a road win for Arizona. They improved to 2-3 with the victory. Packers, of course, 3-2. The Arizona Cardinals, I don't know if they fit in our game of fraud or for real. They're just a 2-3 team. But there's some standout performers here. And if you're the Green Bay Packers and you get caught napping, they can put up some big points and big plays in a hurry. There are things that are working for Arizona. I think too many things are not working for them. But let's start with the positive, Gary. Mm-hmm. And that's the top of their draft. And that's Marvin Harrison Jr. If you're a Badgers fan, you know all you need to know about Marvin Harrison Jr. And after a very slow start in week one, he has emerged. He is their top receiving threat. He is on the trajectory to be one of the better wide receivers in the NFL, certainly having a major impact here. But if you talk about a mobile quarterback with a steady run game led by James Conner, most underappreciated good running back in the NFL.
He's a hammer.
And a true game-changing talent in Marvin Harrison, and maybe the best tight end, receiving tight end in the NFL, in Trey McBride. Mm-hmm. He's going to be in your top 5 no matter how you shake it up. They've got some weapons. The point production hasn't always been there for Arizona this year, but you see they've got some pieces to work with, that's for sure.
Well, the thing the Packers are going to have to be aware of is not let them big play you. Because I think they can score easily with Kyler Murray. Kyler Murray can create space, right? He can hit the home run ball. It's all plays that are not sound plays that he's making up on the run, where a receiver gets behind the defensive back because he's back there running around, and they get some easy scores. I mean, you may feel like you have the game under control at 17-0, and all of a sudden they hit you with the big play on a broken scramble, and it goes 80 yards, and those plays break your back. And then they come back and get a field goal. Next thing you know, they're in the game. It's going to be I think for the Packers is that they've got to be able to keep contained of Kyler Murray, much like they did Jalen Hurts, and try to keep him in the pocket and not let him out. And, of course, you've got to have a spy. This may be a good spot for Edgerrin Cooper, but most certainly it'd be a good spot for Quay Walker. But I like to see a little bit more of Edgerrin Cooper playing because I think he's starting to play some good football for the Packers, the young rookie.
Made an impact play behind the line of scrimmage during yesterday's game in the fourth quarter in that win over the Rams. You make a good point about how to contain and control Kyler Murray. When the Packers have had to worry about a quarterback who can turn a game upside down with his legs, they've been okay at corralling the quarterback, but they've let the running back get away. Saquon Barkley in week number 1,
right.
Jonathan Taylor in week number 2. For whatever reason, Indianapolis went away from Taylor in the fourth quarter. He didn't even play in the fourth quarter for some odd reason. Is it a pick you're poisoned kind of thing here for the Packers, or can you stop a mobile quarterback while also shutting down the run game?
And it appears, if you've been watching the Packers, for the life of me, I have no idea why. Well, I know because you got Matthew Stafford, but I would have ran the ball a little bit more against the Packers. It feels like the Packers cannot stop the run to save their life. And if they wanted to play a close game, which they want, they will not, and that would be the Cardinals. Most certainly I'll be running the football on first and down. And then on third down, if it's 3rd and 2, your playbook opens up. You can do whatever you want to do on 3rd and 2. But they won't play it that close to the vest. I think the Packers are very vulnerable when we start talking about the run game. They just don't play the run game as well as you'd like for them to play it.
Got an email to the program saying, hey guys, love the show. It's from Todd in Milwaukee. Prevent defenses drive me crazy. I get the concept and why some coaches think it makes sense. Of my 5 decades watching football, I simply don't get it. Teams easily are getting not just the easy 4 to 6 yards at a time, they get 10 and 15-yard gains easily. It's happened to the Packers twice already this year. Why not play the same defense you've been playing when it's working? I think he's referring to the Packers trying to protect a lead.
Yes, that last
late
drive.
in the game. They're up 24-13, about 5 minutes left or so. And it was pretty easy pitch and catch down the field into the end zone, making for a, anxious final 3 minutes of the ball game when the Packers are trying to protect that lead.
And ideally what you like to have is keep the umbrella, right, over the offense, but I think they gave too much space, and they got huge chunk yards. So I don't disagree. They need to tighten that up a little bit more. They made it way too easy for Matthew Stafford. And on top of that, you wouldn't get any pressure on him. So guys are just running through zones all day long, and so they're getting huge chunk yards. I still think you see a Jeff Hafley defense learning in what he wants to do, and still Jeff is playing without one of the better corners in the league in Jair Alexander. But they've got to get that tightened up.
It seems like they did make an adjustment on the final drive. It felt like they were a little more aggressive on the final drive the Rams had, where they needed a touchdown to win the game. Field goal wasn't going to do them any good. It was touchdown or bust. And on that final play, it was a 4th and I think 4, there was pressure. There was pressure in the form of a linebacker blitz right at the middle at Matthew Stafford, who had to sort of fling it off his back foot. And he was maybe a little bit off schedule. And Packer rookie corner was right in the right place to make a play, made a play on the ball, and a throw that wasn't terribly on target, and the game was over. So I felt like I did see a step up in the level of aggressiveness. My wonder is if Jeff Hafley felt, with that beat-up offensive line, we didn't need to worry about blitzing. We'll just get after you with what we got. We can win because of who you have on the field. And it just didn't work, right? I mean, and credit, again, now you've got to talk about a brilliant offensive mind in Sean McVay, who knows what he's working with, right? And can design things in a way to help protect his quarterback. But it felt to me like that offensive line, against the odds, stood up well. Is that an indictment of the Packers' defensive line, or is that a brilliant offensive mind getting things safe for his quarterback?
Well, I think the defensive line, Greg, is not. I mean, it's a 4-man front, and they're just not getting home. And when you go watch, let's say the 49ers are not good to talk about right now, but when the 49ers of last year, they ran that same front. And with those 4 front, they got home all the time, which was able them to play coverage on the back end. The Packers, to me, seems like they're going to have to blitz more out of that 4-man front to get the quarterback off the spot. Sam Darnold, if you just go back to that game, felt like he had just enormous time back there, just standing, and he basically picked us apart. If you can get Sam Darnold off his spot, he'll turn back into the Sam Darnold that we saw when he first entered the league, but they never put any pressure on him. You look at Matthew Stafford, the same thing. He'll pick you apart. And you're right, in the second half, Hafley got a little bit more aggressive and threw caution to the wind and just say those dudes just going to have to cover in the back end. We just got to get home. And you look at the last play with Evan Williams, who was a rookie, had 10 tackles. That's something to write home about. Made a great play at the end of the game, but Stafford didn't have time to set his feet, hurried to throw a little bit, and still Evan Williams made a great play on the ball.
It's a little tougher to corral Kyler Murray. So there was some sort of plan,
guy.
right?
Yes.
I mean, totally different, right? That's kind of the beauty of the NFL.
Right.
But the Packers have seen this movie before in the name of Jalen Hurts and Anthony Richardson. But Kyler's playing pretty well. He's playing pretty well with this team. It's not a great defense in Arizona from what we can tell. You know, this team had a most dominant win was over the Rams, 41-10. They lost to Detroit. They got destroyed by Washington, 42-14, and kind of a head scratcher. The Bills put up 34 points on them in Week 1 of the season. San Francisco admittedly struggled, putting up just 23 points in that home loss. So it may be a signature win. The Cardinals always seem to give the Niners some trouble, though.
Right.
That's a division matchup. Keep that in mind.
Yep.
We'll wrap up the program with some final thoughts. We'll look and see how the Packers graded out in their performance yesterday against the Rams. Keep you updated on Monday Night Football as well. More Potawatomi Sportsbook Football Monday after this.
More football talk coming up next. This is Potawatomi Sportsbook Football Monday. What happens when you mix a 3-time Wisconsin Sports Writer of the Year with a Packers Hall of Famer?
I'm not going to get into the Kringle turnover game, so that's what it needs to be. I think his legs. Yeah.
Wilde and Tausch, presented by Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin.
Like the pastry
Are you guys being
turnovers.
serious? You guys can't put two.
I got it. I did not get it.
They don't call themselves Racine Danish turnovers.
Sorry. Sometimes I wonder about you two, man.
Catch him from 9 to noon right here on 94.5 ESPN, the Wisconsin On Demand app, and at ESPN Milwaukee on YouTube.
Hey ESPN Milwaukee fans, Gary Olsen here from our friends at Best Electric Service, an A-plus Better Business Bureau, family-owned and operated, who have been serving you for over 50 years. No job is too big or too small, whether it's making panel upgrades to your home, installing your new Briggs & Stratton generator, or electric vehicle charging. Best Electric provides quality services at fair prices. They are experienced and licensed electrical contractors ready to get to work. Connect with the Best Electric Service. Find out more at bestelect.com.
Looking for that ultimate game day hangout during football season? Welcome to Magoo's on the Mound, now open at 11 a.m. Tuesday through Sunday. With 13 TVs, you won't miss a moment of the action. Enjoy our free 100-square pool with amazing prizes and a complimentary halftime buffet. Plus, we've got great drink specials to keep you cheering. And don't forget, we offer shuttles to and from all Milwaukee baseball games. Magoo's on the Mound, where green and gold fans gather and where every game day is a win.
Prize Picks is America's #1 daily fantasy sports app with over 10 million users. Prize Picks is the easiest and most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports. All you do is pick more or less on 2 to 6 player stat projections and watch the winnings roll in. Get in on the daily action with your friends and become part of the Prize Picks community today. You can now win up to 100 times your money on Prize Picks with as little as 4 correct picks. Prize Picks is the best way to win real money this football season. Make your picks in less than 60 seconds and turn your sports opinions into real money all season long on Prize Picks. Sign up today and get $50 instantly when you play $5. You don't even need to win to receive the $50 bonus. It's guaranteed. Download the app today and use code WI to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Use code WI to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks. Run your game.
The pulse of the Milwaukee Bucks, straight from a Bucks legend.
Can't get it off. Marcus Johnson will, though. Can't leave him alone for a 12.
Tap into Here District with Marcus Johnson on Bucks Plus. Marcus and his son Chris offer a weekly beat on Bucks basketball. Get your questions answered and hear from the biggest names in basketball. Find Here District with Marcus Johnson at bucks.com/plus on the Bucks app or wherever you get your podcasts.
Fisco is always there for your auto body care. When accidents happen, Fisco Auto Body on Forest Home in Franklin is there when you need them. Got a broken mirror? They'll take care of it. Dented bumper? scratch paint, Fisco Auto Body will take care of it. If there's any damage you need fixed, Fisco has you covered. Their expert workmanship is guaranteed for the life of your vehicle. So stop in for all of your auto bumps and dings. Once again, you know the line. That's Fisco, Fisco, Fisco.
The annual Catholic Memorial High School Open House is October 13th. If your family is interested in becoming part of the CMH tradition, make plans now to attend from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. on Sunday, October 13th. Register at CatholicMemorial.net. As the only school awarded the Exemplary Award for Academic Excellence by the Archdiocese, find out how your student can achieve more at CMH. Tour the school, meet faculty and coaches, learn about all the clubs and extracurricular activities. Register today at CatholicMemorial.net. Catholic Memorial High School, where you rise.
We're back with Potawatomi Sportsbook Football Monday, live from the Potawatomi Sportsbook Studios on 94.5 ESPN.
Yeah, it's certainly impactful. I mean, he just has got a way of, wrapping when we're running some of those stunts in front of him, and he's wrapping around some of those stunts. He just wraps so tight and fast and gets there in a hurry. And usually those take a little bit longer than, traditional blitzes if you're just sending somebody through a gap.
Packers head coach Matt LaFleur talking about rookie Edgerrin Cooper. He's had some splash plays, no doubt, this year. And you can see why they drafted him out of Texas A&M. He's got some fire behind him. He's not always going to guess right, but he plays hard, he plays fast, he plays downhill. We've seen him in coverage a little bit. We've seen him behind the line of scrimmage a little bit. And really it's more about opportunities, but if you want to say Isaiah McDuffie is sort of a steady player, Cooper's got a chance to be more of a splashy player in more of a traditional linebacker sense, right?
And I think, and I know the Packers are tough on making a move because they love Isaiah McDuffie, and so do I. But I think if it were me, I'd just go ahead and make that change. And matter of fact, I put Adrian Cooper in the middle, and I put Quay Walker where Isaiah McDuffie is. That will be my biggest move on that defense.
Cooper had 2 pressures, including a sack. He gave up just 1 catch in coverage while playing 30 total snaps. He was the 3rd highest graded Packer on defense, according to Pro Football Focus. The others, and you love to see the rookie inclusion here, Evan Williams, number 5 on the list, Kingsley Enagbare, number 4 on the list, Cooper, number 3, Xavier McKinney, number 2, and T.J. Slayton, the highest graded Packer on defense, according to Pro Football Focus.
Yeah, I thought he and Carl Brooks, showed up with flash. I thought both of those guys played well, defensive line. We just didn't get much. Lucas Van Ness, I don't know what's going on with him either. I mean, you're not getting much out of him. I just think right now he's plateaued in that he's got to figure out another move. Right now I think he's just a bull rusher. He's got to do something else to add to his repertoire when he's starting to try to rush the passer. He's a one-trick pony right now.
Regarding Slayton, he had 2 pressures, including a quarterback hit, effective against the run, played 27 snaps. McKinney, we outlined his performance, a fumble recovery, interception, disrupted 2 other passes, made 4 tackles without a miss, didn't allow a completion in his coverage. This is getting absurd, the level of play he is delivering in the deep secondary.
Well, and it's amazing because if you feel like the Packers are not getting a pass rush, is he doing it without that? I just think the guy has the innate ability for the ball. Not necessarily that too, but also there's a lot of film study to be going in to try to pick up some route trees and route combinations, understand what guys are doing back there, and he's able to go in. And he covers a lot of ground, let's just face it. I mean, he can go from one hash to the other hash of numbers to the other side of numbers, and he covers a lot of ground.
He'll come off a corner and make a play in the secondary, in the deep middle. It's interesting to watch him, and if you've watched any of the All-22, you sort of get an idea of his range. He appears to have very strong anticipatory skills.
Yes.
Right? Like he sees a movement from the quarterback
that you don't coach.
And he just reacts to it before the ball's even out of the hand.
Yes, his instincts are incredible. I mean, I don't think we had a guy like that since the last 2 36s ago.
2 36s, was that Leroy? 2 36s?
That'd be 136.
The other was Nick Collins.
That's 2 36s ago.
Okay.
Yeah. And 42 when he was doing it was pretty good too.
Morgan Burnett?
No. Darren Sharper.
I forgot about him.
A lot of people did.
Quite hard to forget about him. Well,
and 41 was doing it pretty good. Now, these are all
Eugene Robinson.
older guys. But
you tested my knowledge of the old Packers numbers, Eugene Robinson.
But because you made that statement, you goes, Gary, that you just so you know, they haven't done anything without a top 5 defenses, and all those
not
guys.
Won a Super Bowl without a top
all
5
those
defense.
guys were on those top 5 defenses that we just.
No doubt. And Charles Woodson was too, right? I mean, I don't know if he's going to be a Hall of Famer, but Xavier McKinney is 24 years old. Yeah. Did we remind you of that? This is not like a free agent.
What were the Giants thinking about?
I have no idea.
I mean,
they pay
let
the quarterback so much money.
They let Saquon go and him go. I mean, it's just,
because they paid Daniel Jones.
Yeah. Those are your two best, one player on offense, one player on defense.
He is 24. Yeah, this is not an aging free agent brought in at 28 who's got maybe a year or two left. You're hoping to get the most out of him. He is prime, in the prime of his career. Mm-hmm. And he walked. They let him walk. And the Packers, who don't dabble in the space much, sign him for 4 years, $67 million. Top 5 on offense, according to Pro Football Focus. Number 5, Rasheed Walker. Number 4, Jaden Reed. Number 3, Emmanuel Wilson. Number 2, Tucker Kraft. And number 1, Josh Jacobs, 68 yards after first contact. That's what they really like about Jacobs. Forced a couple missed tackles, couple runs over 10 yards, 21-yard catch, found the end zone as well. Yeah. Who else stands out to you out of that group? Or does Jacobs take the cake?
Well, I mean, Jacobs does because that's him. You're talking about breaking tackles and those. That's how he wears down defenses. Great. That's what I'm talking about. And that's why I think he needs more carries. I don't know if they're invested in doing that. They will be the Packers. But that's what he brings to the game. And that's what makes him most effective when he can get – I think this guy's got to have about 25 – not touches. I think he's got to have about 25 carries a game to make it right.
Well, game script has a lot to do with that.
Well, it depends on where you are. Like if you're down or you
can't be trailing 21-0, right? You can't be getting smoked like you were against Minnesota.
And that has happened to them. So you get out of that. You get out of the run game. Yes.
Let's look at our bottom 5 on defense here for the Packers. Bottom 5 on defense according to Pro Football Focus. Number 5, Colby Wooden on the defensive line. Carrington Valentine, good to have him back. They needed him. Not a great performance according to Pro Football Focus. Javon Bullard, another rookie here, defensive back. Eric Stokes, number 2. Carl Brooks, number 1. Now here's what they did say about Brooks, the defensive lineman. 4 pressures, 2 sacks, important. He was being downgraded because of the Packers' play against the run. That's still, to me, a bit of a concern in this Packers defense is how they attack the run. We have seen some big numbers here from Saquon, from Jonathan Taylor. The Titans were so far out of that game against Green Bay, they couldn't really lean on anything, and they were kind of one-dimensional. The run is all they had because Will Levis was awful, with the exception of a drive, maybe 2 drives. Mm-hmm. Then you had Minnesota, good balanced attack, but Aaron Jones got his, no doubt about it.
Right.
And then yesterday, Kyron Williams was very effective.
Same thing.
It just got to a point where they had to pass to get back into the game. The Rams did. So I am still concerned about the rush defense. I don't think it's been good enough.
It hasn't, and that's what I said they ran at will. To me, it'll be interesting to see what they do with James Conner coming in here because they can run him at will. But I know they'll get pass happy because you got Kyler Murray. But I think if they want to line up and just commit to the run, I think the Cardinals can run the football on us.
Yeah, don't sleep on James Conner.
Right.
Now, that dude is a steady back in the NFL. He is a pro. He's a good receiver as well. We are out of time on the program. Want to thank the law firm of Haley, and Jimmy for protecting us here down at Potawatomi Sportsbook. Chris Larson for producing the show back at the mothership. And for Gary Ellerson, I'm Greg Matzik. We will be back with you again next week, hopefully recapping a Packers win, Gary, over the Arizona Cardinals.
Let's do it.
Enjoy the rest of your night here on ESPN Wisconsin.
ESPN Wisconsin's Mark Tosher here for my friends at Kohler Services. If you need a bath or shower remodel, turn to Kohler Services.